Hey guys, Chaz here from Pugliese Speed Shop with your Tuesday morning tech tip. Alright guys, so here's what's going on. My editor, right, he's been on me, right? He's like, we need more content. So, I figured we'd put a little something together during the week, throw it at you guys, and hopefully you like it. Try to make it a little more educational rather than watching me fumble around on this crap. And maybe answer some questions. We have some other builds we've done or whatever we can do to help out, right? So this week, your first week, which this is it, we're going to talk about John's truck. I know this might start be getting old after a minute, but it was a pretty in-depth thing we did, and we didn't do it 100% right. We thought we did all the research, right? John was all over it. I mean, you know, Googling it up, whatever. Tried, now this is the key, tried to find like a Haynes manual or Chilton's or whatever, specifically on that truck, that you used to find in every auto parts store, right? He went everywhere looking for one, couldn't find one. Then, as luck would have it, after we did everything on the truck, he found one like 2 blocks from his house, somewhere he didn't even think about looking. What are you gonna do, right? It happens. So, it's always the last place you look. But, so he did more research too after finding the book and after all that, because, like I said, we had a problem. Went to get that thing out of here after everything was all said and done. No gears. It's weird. Like, he took it for the drive. It was okay. It was running, driving okay. It cut out once. And then it was hard to start, and it just kept getting worse and worse the more we messed with it. So we kind of just left it and said, let's figure something out. After the research was all done, and I can't tell you whether he found this in the book or he found it like online, but with some of these motors, everybody thinks corporate motor, they're all the same. It's not true. So this, and everything he said, these guys swap motors out of these vans. Out of the van, because they made it for like 3 or 4 years in that van, so that particular motor, plug right in, everything works great. The motor part did. Here's where the problem is. We'll put a picture up here of the original motor that came out of the truck. You can tell because it's very clean. And on this angle, now, granted, John found all this as he was watching the videos that we put out, trying to figure out what could have gone wrong too. I think it was more his experience and mixed with what he found online. So if you look here, the crankshaft it's damn near flush, right? The mounting point is just damn near flush, and which would make sense because the flex plate that came off of this motor, the original flex plate to the truck, was kind of like, you know, what is that, convex? Okay, depending on which direction you look at. It was curved, right? So it mounted against this side against the motor, and it curved like this and mounted to the torque converter. So here's the torque converter, it kind of mounted like this, right? The one we pulled out of the van, or they pulled out of the van and we went and bought from the junkyard, we'll put that one up right here. It's harder to tell from this angle, but that crankshaft, that plate, mounting plate, is not flush with the back of the motor like the other one was. It's sticking out an inch or two. That flex plate was perfectly flat. So here's your torque converter, mounted like that. And it's exactly how it looked in there. And when John put everything together, he's down there torquing everything, he didn't realize there wasn't a gap that there was before. So there was a gap in there originally. That obviously allowed for play for the torque converter to move around a little bit. So we sandwiched it together. It worked at first. But if you remember that video, it sounded hard to crank. We figured the battery was starting to go from sitting a little bit because it was dead at some point, and then we charged it, which I didn't hold a full charge. That wasn't the case. Problem was that torque converter was turning when it shouldn't have, and yeah. When he took it for that drive and then we brought it back here, he made it back here okay, but very shortly after that, the pump in the transmission went out. So from that pressure being on it, we probably should have used the original flex plate to that came out of the van that had the right spacing. I'm assuming it's a two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive thing. The van was two-wheel drive, his truck's four. That's the only difference on anything that makes any sense to me, because it's gonna, you know, I don't know if that's it. That's all we found so far is a two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive thing. That's the only thing that makes any sense. That's the only kind of. So right now we end up taking it to a trans shop. I'm not going to rebuild a transmission here. I have no idea how to rebuild an automatic transmission. I could probably figure it out, but we see what happens when we try to do that. So he brought it to a shop, local shop here in town, and they kind of knew right away. He also brought the original flex plate so they could have all the spacing back together. And when he explained it to them, they didn't say this was the first time they saw this, which is upsetting because, you know, with the internet nowadays and all that, nobody mentioned any of this, any of the stuff he watched or he read or anything to make him assume this was going to happen. If so, we would have obviously done the original flex plate. We assumed. Keep everything the same that came out of that truck. Put it right back in. Because we thought the motors were identical. Something we should have checked. I said, I don't know the exact measurement difference because the other motor is still in his truck. And I got the one sitting over here, but the one that originally came out of the truck. So, you know, no matter what research you do, when you're doing stuff, we saw the videos from this. Well, hopefully you did. If not, go back and watch them. We were jamming on this thing, and we didn't take a lot of time to check a lot of measurements that we probably should have. Had we measured that out, we measured a bunch of other stuff, but we never measured that. Had we measured that, we might have saw the difference, thrown the other flex plate on there, and avoided this whole thing. He could be on the road right now. Instead, his time on the road was short-lived, and now he's writing another check, you know? So, if you learn anything from this, do all your research, which we thought we did, right? We really, I mean, he was all over this. That's one thing about John. He was all over this stuff. But even with all the research you do, some people will screw something up and not say nothing because they're embarrassed or whatever. I ain't embarrassed by it. I'm here to tell you this is what happened so you don't make the same mistake. Because nobody's perfect, right? Everybody learns something differently. I learned from screwing things up. But if I can learn from somebody else's mistake, it's usually better because it saves me money, right? But in this one, it's not the case. Hopefully you guys learn from our mistake. So as you're doing this kind of stuff, measure twice, cut once, that mentality. It can't kill you, it can't hurt you, right? So we'll let you know when this thing gets back on the road and everything's good to go. But that's what we're looking at right now. That's what the shop's telling them. That's what we figured out coming into it. So it is what it is. But yeah. Hopefully you guys like this little segment. Let me know. Leave a comment. Tell me if you like it, what you'd like to see on here, because I'm just winging it right now. This is obvious because I'm still rambling. And catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.